Hello and welcome to this video examining one of the most common of winter myths, vitamin C and immunity. Have you recently been told that taking vitamin C will help you get better, reduce the duration of the cold and flu, or that vitamin C is some sort of panacea? The chances are that you said yes to at least one or more of those statements. You may be thinking that with so many voices repeating the same advice, there must be some truth to the claim. And there is a small amount of truth sprinkled among the rubbish that you will hear. This video is going to separate some of the larger grains of truth from the morass of ignorance and optimism, using the common cold as an example. Vitamin C is also known as L-ascorbic acid, or just ascorbic acid. You will sometimes see it as a dietary supplement, especially for children. The average adult only needs 100 to 200 micrograms a day to achieve adequate healthy intake. In this case, more is not better, as excess ascorbic acid can be bad for you. Excess doses are mostly harmless in that they are removed by the kidneys, but it can cause GI tract distress. It also serves an important function in neurotransmitter production and tissue repair, the latter of which is why a lack of vitamin C causes scurvy. It is an important intermediary in some biological functions, enzymes, and mediating reactions. It is also an important factor in the immune system, where it is used by phagocytes and T cells. These names may sound strange or foreign, and that is okay. You're about to get a crash course in immune cell differentiation and function. All blood-borne cells, like red cells, platelets, and immune cells, begin from the bone marrow, and from a common predecessor, called a pluripotent hematopoietic stem cell. This spins off one of the following common lymphoid progenitor, or common myeloid progenitor cells. These in turn create the other cells of the blood system. For the purposes of this video, we will focus on the T cell line, which moves from the bone marrow into the thymus, where they finish maturing. Once in the thymus, the body selects for those with autoimmune function and removes them. This leaves behind approximately 2% of the original T cells, which will target foreign pathogens like the common cold. The immature T cells use vitamin C as a promoter for their proliferation and differentiation. This increases the number of and possible range of targets the T cells can attack and be selected for in the thymus. These are each very specific and have limited flexibility in what they can attack. In a fetus, this can take up to 18 days to develop. This number increases with age. After being in the thymus a further 4 or more days with age, the unsuccessful T cells are removed. This means that at just one extra day to mature for each year of life, a 20-year-old will need a month and a half for new T cells to mature, and a 40-year-old will need nearly 2 months for T cells to mature. The reality is that it takes less time due to the slight plasticity and reservoir of other T cells that can take up the slack. But in order to achieve maximum coverage and immune response, it will still take an extended period of time. Taking vitamin C and hoping for a lucky match is one option, but the body has a habit of storing unused T cells, and you would need to have a wide selection of T cells to match with a specific cold virus, and this again takes time to find, let alone develop from scratch if need be. These spare cells will have been sitting in the thymus or bone marrow, waiting to be selected for. They will have been there for months, if not years, prior to their selection. This means that your immune system is already well stocked, and you must ask the question, what then is the benefit of vitamin C? The answer to this is surprisingly simple. First, it helps to support other immune cells that are not specialized, but far more numerous, and provide the first line of response to foreign pathogens. In particular, the neutrophils and macrophages. It improves their performance and functionality. Second, it increases the pool of T and B cells. It also increases the antibody levels in blood, which improves the immune response. Finally, it improves the inflammation response. This is the stuffy nose, red eyes, and mucus of being sick, along with the general sense of malaise. The other way in which it may work is as a protective bulwark to oxidative stress. Bacteria and other pathogens will often use oxidation to cause cells to become vulnerable, and ascorbic acid can act as a sort of buffer to this effect. Extreme physical activity has a similar effect on the body, as it is releasing these oxidative components when stressed. The problems should now begin to appear to you. First and foremost is the question of how consuming excess vitamin C is not simply excreted if you're already well and adequately supplied. Vitamin C is readily soluble in water, and as a consequence, very quickly transfers into urine if you exceed the necessary quantity. Second to this, if you are part of the majority who are undersupplied with vitamin C in their daily intake, taking this should be part of your general well-being, not a response to illness. Taking more is not adding to your dietary intake in terms of what you should have, but reaching an adequate level. This is distinct from the proposed solution of just taking more to help you get better. Unfortunately, there is limited to no evidence supporting claims it will reduce, stop, or prevent the duration and incidence of the common cold. Going in favor of vitamin C supplementation is the ongoing and regular consumption. On average, it can reduce the duration for adults by 8% and in children by up to 18% in very high-dose trials. This is a reduction of between 0.66 and 1.25 days. This is not a particularly significant return on something that lasts up to a week and only occurs between 3 and 6 times a year. If you consume vitamin C more than 24 hours after first symptoms appear, there's no evidence that it has a benefit and may even be less useful than drugs like aspirin. If consumed within 24 hours of first symptoms, it may reduce the duration slightly. In summary, there is little to no evidence consuming vitamin C will stop the common cold, the severity of symptoms, or the regularity with which you are infected. It may shorten the duration slightly for endurance athletes, but not the common person in most cases. For the best effect, you want to consume it regularly, up to 6 months before you get sick, which is rather hard to predict and impractical for instant treatment for the common cold, let alone anything else. Everything said so far is largely translatable to the incidences of other diseases, such as influenza, tonsillitis, and more. The immune system requires some vitamin C, but acute doses will not help to suddenly make you better. No disease, barring scurvy, will be miraculously treated by consumption of vitamin C. Long-term use may be of benefit to those who are deficient, but this is going to achieve adequate intake, not extra intake. This will help to facilitate immune cell and system function, repair, and general well-being. The immune system is somewhat dependent on vitamin C, and as a consequence, taking a general multivitamin would do much the same job for most people as consuming a vitamin C specific supplement. Thank you for watching this video. If you have found it interesting or useful, consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. Please post any comments, questions, or suggestions below.